Uh-huh. Back for another one. Fresh off of rest to speak about waking up. The awakening, right? The awakening. You up, right? Because I'm up. I'm up. I'm blinking. You blinking?
Yeah, I'm blinking.
You're blinking. That's good. Multiple blinks. So let's just do it. All right. We're here to share our story. Welcome to episode 2. Second one. The topic of the day is our stories of awakening.
Awakening.
Awakening. How did we go, our process, our journey, etc., etc. So we're going to start with Star to go
Yeah.
in for you. So where did all this begin? Tell us your story on how you understood that you were awakening, the process, etc. Everything that just that got you up to this point. Take us back to the beginning, all the way till you got to this point.
The beginning, or the beginning? Or just the beginning?
Um, I mean, it can be a both and, which is a term I think all y'all should
Mm,
endure. Both and, which is, it could be a both and. Wherever you feel like is the best way to start to introduce yourself, your journey to all our listeners, and to get so they can get a good grasp of who Star is.
you know, it's funny that you say that because of who I am. That has always been a problem of mine. People are not going to understand me. And I had to get used to that. That has been a struggle, a lifelong fucking struggle. And because of who I am and where I come from, I have not only experienced it, but later on when, I got more into my spiritual journey, I was told, you're going to be misunderstood. Your mind is different. You are different. You stand out like a sore thumb at times. Whatever. So, thinking about your question, I know some people have dramatic experiences that cause them to awaken. Some people have always been woke. I have had pivotal points in my journey that have been aha moments, that have been moments of recollection and remembering why I'm here and who I am. So I would have to go like literally way back to my fucking birth. And you know how your parents are always telling you, how you came into the world. She's like, yeah, you came in with your eyes open. That's why I named you. My government name is Najim, which means morning star or inquisitive. It is an Arabic name. Um, so because I was born literally with my eyes open, and I think figuratively and spiritually too, that, we'll get to that. She named me that. And then when I think about it, I'm like, nah, I named myself, God damn it. I told you what my name was going to be. But anyway, that's again another story. So I come into this world, you get to the point where, your mom gives you more details about your birth, right? And I don't know where I got this from, but I do know where I got it from. I used to always tell her, I said, Mom, I would switch that birth. And she used to say, nah, you know how mamas do. Nah, I made sure you was in that room with me from the time you came out of me to the time we left that goddamn hospital. You didn't go nowhere. I was going to make sure I had my child. And I never articulated what I meant by that until I was like in my late 30s. I actually explained to her right before she left this earth what I meant when I used to always tell her, "Mom, I was switched at birth." She used to always reply with the same thing. She's like, "Nah." I was like, "Yeah, Mom, I was switched at birth." So it's not until, I'm later on more in depth learning the linguistics of the spiritual journey and the proper terminology that I understood that I was technically what they call either a walk-in, or me and whoever the being that was going to initially inhabit this vessel. We said, "You want to switch?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "All right, I'm going in." So I came in with my eyes open, right? So that was the start of this journey. Elementary school, realized, of course, I was different. Couldn't really pinpoint why. One thing I do recollect, and I recollect very vividly, was that one of the lessons that I was supposed to learn here was trusting my own intuition. I remember I'm sitting there in elementary school, about fourth grade, third or fourth grade, and we had drew this drawing that we had to mimic from an image, and I forgot to put my name on there. Mind you, I heard the spirit remind me, say, "Hey, put your name on it." And so the teacher, she comes to me and another student, and she's talking to both of us, trying to figure out, who this paper belongs to. And I know mine is mine. I sense my energy in it. I know that it's mine. I just sat there and draw it. And so we and other student are arguing. And then I sat there and I doubted myself. And I clearly heard spirit said, "Trust yourself. Trust in your intuition." I didn't make nothing of it. I thought that was just my inside voice or whatever have you. Go on. You notice certain things, like being able to see spirits and shadows, and just knowing stuff is happening or has happened, and you don't know how you know it because you didn't get any news report or this, that, and the fourth. And this is stuff you keep to yourself. Growing up around our time period, this wasn't stuff you talked about. It wasn't until, I'll say, around middle school that I started learning about my healing gifts. I had this young lady, and mind you, I was in my Christian journey during that time. I wasn't raised in the church, but I got invited when my family and I moved from Texas to Virginia. Um, I guess they were trying to get me indoctrinated into that way of believing. But yeah, I get invited, and I'm attaining this Pentecostal church. So, the speaking of the tongues and all this stuff going on. And I was always very observant because I could sense energy. And that, let's go back for a second. That whole energy sensing thing. This is around fifth grade now. My dad, my mom loved music. We listened to all types of music coming up, from R&B to hip hop to rap to country to classical. So my dad's in the house jamming to an R&B song, and I'm thinking it's Babyface if I'm not recalling, but I'm listening to the song and I'm boo-hoo crying like I done got my heart broken, and I'm the one sitting there waiting to see this person. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, why I'm sitting here wiping my eyes. Why am I crying? Like, I don't have a reason to cry, but I'm crying. And again, not till later years I realized that's an empathic ability. Being able to sincerely feel, literally feel what another person is going through. Again, I didn't have the words. I didn't have an explanation to this shit. I'm just going through it, right? So I'm keeping this to myself, and I'm just like, okay, wiping my eyes, like, what the hell, God damn it. So, okay, so moving on. Middle school time, about eighth grade, going to this church, I got invited to, and people speaking in tongues and laying on of hands and folks passing out. And I'm like, okay. So my teen comrades asked me to pray for them. So I said, okay, sure, not a problem. Lay my hands on them, pray for them. And I get a phone call. Oh, it's gotten worse. I'm like, oh shit, I ain't never doing that again. I'm like, did I do something wrong? I said, fuck that. I ain't praying for no goddamn body else. So later on, she tells me it got worse, and then I immediately healed. Now, mind you, I didn't understand the healing process. Like, this is shit that they should teach you in school, just the basic healing journey when you have a dis-ease in your body or an infirmary or just something that's not going right, an imbalance. They should tell you how the healing process goes. So I didn't understand. I learned it later in life, but I didn't understand when you're doing miraculous healing, sometimes it's not a really smooth journey, like an instant heal and everything just goes away. Sometimes it is, but not all the time. Sometimes it gets worse because that's the faculty of your vessel. That's how it works. It kicks the stuff out with a fearful force. So to you, that translates into more intense symptoms. And then you heal. And I was like, ah. But again, didn't learn that until later on in life, right? So I'm like, I ain't laying hands on no goddamn body else. I ain't doing nothing else. I ain't talking to nobody else. But a healing gift, right? The laying on of hands. The other thing that, again, didn't realize until later on in life, that as an empath, you heal people by allowing them to vent to you, being in your presence. That shit was fucking annoying in my teens and 20s. Because here I am, I'm still trying to figure out my life, goddammit, who I am, what I am, going through these hormonal changes and shit, and boyfriends and girlfriends, and what the fuck? And you want to tell me your whole life story? I don't even know what my life story is, and you want to vent to me? I don't know you. Why you talking to me? This was internal exchange, mind you. I wasn't that rude. But still, I'm like, why the hell are you telling me your whole life story? You don't know me. How do you know that I'm not going to go and just blab your shit out on Front Street? You get what I'm saying? But you feel comfortable enough to just tell me all your business. Again, not until later that I realized that there are certain empaths that have this vent to me in their aura, in their spirit, where people feel comfortable, let me articulate that, enough to be themselves, to open up and to vent because we hold sacred space for them. And not only do we hold that sacred space for them, there is no judgment there. There is no looking down on them there for what they're going through. And then in addition to that, should it be solicited, they actually get sound wisdom to help them further along on their journey. I didn't understand that shit until my 30s. I'm like, this is annoying as fuck. So I would try not to talk to people and start conversation because I knew it was going to end there. It was going to go there. then comes, then comes this other gift, which some people think is a curse. Knowing when somebody's about to pass away. Seeing the spirit of death on someone. I laugh because I think about that movie, the Sixth Sense, where the little kid was like, "I see dead people."
Right?
I was like, "Yo, I feel you. I see dead people too. Not only do I see them, I can talk to the motherfuckers." But again, this is shit you can't talk about, right? Because we were in the Piscean era, still being clouded by the illusion of religion. Me, you ain't supposed to be able to do that. That's a sin to be able to do that. Oh, you're cursed or you're a witch. Again, yeah, I come from a family of sibyls and seers. You think anybody told me this shit? No. No. Again, not until I started officially my journey. And so I can't specifically pinpoint a specific time when I was like, oh, I'm awakened. What the fuck? Because it's been happening gradually since birth. There have been pivotal moments in my journey, in my lifetime, where I recognized things and all I had to do was put a pin. All I could do was put a pin in it to avoid being ostracized, to avoid being looked at like I'm crazy. So I had to be very observant. So going back to that gift of knowing when somebody's about to die, If I go all the way back, my first person that was in my presence, and I didn't recognize what it was. I just knew that something was strange was my great grandmother. She came to visit us for a couple of weeks. Nothing was wrong with her that we could see. She was her old normal self. My big mama was a gangster. She ain't play all the stories I used to hear about her, right? And I used to get mad at her because she did that whole snuff stuff. You know, you put the snuff and the tobacco in your lip and you're spitting all over the plant. And I had just had a plant that I was growing from seed, and she's up here spitting it. I'm like, Grandma, why are you spitting in my plant? She's like, this is nutritious for it. I'm like, no the hell of that. All I think about is just spit. And you spitting in my plant. So I hear her snuffing a speaker box. She made me go to the store and get her some more, goddamn it. So, well, but no sooner, I don't remember the length of time, but right after that, we got the news that she had passed away. And I remember going to the funeral. Now, mind you, I'm still feeling everybody else's emotions, but I don't feel sad. I go to the casket and I'm looking down at her, and my thoughts were, that's not my grandmother. I touched the body. It was cold as ice. Typically, I would see because you're refrigerated. But I was like, that's not my grandma. My grandma ain't here no more. That's just the vessel. I was like, okay, she ain't here no more. Didn't really affect me. And that's my great grandmother. Next person I was told, that was leaving was my grandmother. Now, during this time, I'm overseas on a ship, and I get notice from Spirit, hey, call your grandmother. She's about to leave. I'm like, yeah, mind you, I'm now 19 years old. I got time. I call her when I finish living my life. I'm enjoying myself, traveling the world, and contracted with the Navy. Yep, that next phone call I got, Grandma passed away, and I couldn't go to her funeral. But I felt like shit because Spirit told me to call her, and I didn't. I pushed it off. I didn't call. I didn't know what that was, mind you. And it happened several times out throughout my life, still happening to this day, but not just with family, with strangers. I was volunteering a couple years ago to help people with low income to get the tablets, the government tablets, so that they can have Wi-Fi and the kids can do school and so on and so forth. And I'm working on beside this lady who's with another workforce company to help people to find jobs or to get education sponsored and granted funds from the government. And I'm looking at her, and again I see that spirit. That it's a dark, it's kind of like a sheer curtain that's put over somebody's aura, if I can explain it that way. Yeah, I'm like, okay, she's cool. She's going to her doctors and all this other stuff, and everything is fine. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm outside. I got mosquitoes biting me because it just rained. God damn it. Um, but we had ended volunteering at the library, and there was a lady that had took over her spot, and I get the phone call. She passed away. I'm like, what? So I'm shocked. One, because I'm receiving that phone call and I didn't directly work with her. We just happened to be in the same place at the same time. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because I'm often getting that notice, or I'm often crossing paths with people who are about to transition. And I'm like, why do I have this gift? What is this for? I remember I'm at a bar in Virginia, just listening to the live band. I'm eating some French fries and some chicken and some just chilling. And I get my palm side persuasion lady that comes to me, and we're just having a good conversation, right? And she's like, you should be a birth doula or a death doula. I'm like, what the fuck is a death doula? I've heard of birth doulas, they help to bring people into this new transition, into this experience. So obviously death doula would be the opposite, but I still did my research because I wasn't quite sure. And it was the death that intrigued me. And I have a unique bond with babies coming into the world. It's cute. It's funny, but death doula is what intrigued me, and it was because of my gifts. Knowing at that time, I kind of knew that I had the gift of speaking with those that have crossed over to the other side or transitioned over, knowing when someone was about to pass away or being able to see that spirit. Um, and dealing with those entities that assist people in crossing over from life into the afterlife, right? So constantly being bombarded. And again, it's not until I'm in my 30s that I started finding out the terminology to all these goddamn gifts, that I start becoming more empowered and these gifts start increasing. And I'm like, what the hell? And you feel so alone because you can't tell your family members because they'll think you're crazy. And mind you, it's 4 of us living that my mother birthed. It would have been 7 of us in total, but it's 4 of us living. And only 2 of us have exemplified these gifts, me and my brother right next to me. Um, again, not until within the last decade that we started talking about the gifts that we each other had. So mind you, we're both living in this household, experiencing these experiences, and we don't know that we can talk to each other because we both have these spiritual gifts, right? And so you thinking you're all alone, going through this shit, seeing shit, experiencing shit, feeling shit, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And again, it's not until there's like a mass awakening where you find a tribe of people that you can actually talk to and you can actually find out more information about this shit, find out what's going on. And people that come into your life help you to hone and to utilize these gifts of mediumship, gifts of tongues. Oh, oh, let's go into that one. So, mind you, remember I told you I started out in the Pentecostal. Well, actually, before that, it was a Baptist church. But then I went into a Pentecostal church. And so Spirit was taking me to these different places, having different experiences, right? So I understood the gift of speaking in tongues in a Pentecostal church, which is the gift of speaking a foreign language that you weren't raised with, that you weren't born with, so that people in the group could understand. Apparently, my tongues was a little bit different. Okay, a whole lot of different. I remember I'm in this Pentecostal non-denominational church, and it was creepy because at certain parts of the song period or what's the technical term for that when you're singing, the hymnals or the music or devotion. There you go, the devotion period, right? And everybody in this church stopped at the same time and they're all speaking tongues and they all sound exactly the goddamn same. I start speaking in tongues and people that are in my vicinity stop and turn around and look at me. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I'm gonna shut the hell up. Because this is weird. It shouldn't be weird, but it's weird. Why I keep getting these looks every time I speak in tongues, goddammit. Not knowing that the tongues I was speaking was ancient, cosmic, and galactic languages. I'm like, what the? And again, not until years later I find somebody else that has that same gift. And we on the phone just talking and talking and blah, 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 blah. And then as I start developing, I understood that there are different galactic languages that I could speak. I remember I'm doing, giving ancestral altars and offerings, and a different tongue come out. Consciously, I'm like, oh, this sounds different. Where the fuck is this from? Okay, all right. All righty then. And then my spiritual teacher at the time, she had me saying she was training me. speaking to higher vibrational beings. So I remember one tongue I'm talking to, which is Anunnakian, which was very guttural. It's a very kind of like a harsher tongue, kind of similar to like Russian and um Czech language. It's very in German. It's very guttural. It's like I mean what the fuck I say. That's the energy that's behind it. Um, and then you get to your angel language, which is very soft. It's very flowing. It's like you would describe it as a fucking angel. This a high vibrational, higher pitched tone. And I was like, oh, I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Like, oh, this is, and the internal dialect that you're experiencing is the conscious side of you. This version of you does not comprehend. You cannot translate it into English word for word. You get a summarization. You can summarize the energy and what's being said word for word, but you cannot literally translate it word for word. You understand the energy behind the language because when you speak those languages, when you speak higher languages, they're very energetic. Your subconscious, your psyche, your higher self knows exactly what the fuck is going on and knows exactly what is said. And the person that's on the other end receiving it, they know too, whether they can speak or not speak. But when I found somebody else that could speak, I was like, yo, sis, this is awesome. I ain't the only crazy bitch out here, okay? Um, and again, when you find your tribe, it's like you can breathe a sigh of relief and fresh air because now you can put words to what you're experiencing. Now you know that what you were experiencing was for something. It wasn't for naught. There's a reason why you experience these things. There's a reason why you can see and you know these things. And you again, in this tribe, I was able to understand like your clairs, what your clairs were, and all the other types of gifts that you have. And initially starting out, it's like there's 33 spiritual gifts, but then there's even more. And then you go back to your upbringing. You're like, oh, these are what Yeshua meant, even in the scriptures, or those that follow that teaching or the Buddhist teaching. These are just spiritual unlocking of gifts that we have as beings that are more than just human. Because remember, we come into this world and they're like, oh, you're nothing but human. You're limited. You can't do much. And you go through your entire life battling with that because you're like, nope, I remember there's more. This is not all there is. I'm not limited. I got gifts and powers and shit that you say I ain't supposed to have. Come across people moving shit with their hand and their eyes, and you gravitate towards supernatural movies like Carrie, the chick that can just burn shit with thoughts. I knew that was real, but they make you think, oh no, this is just superstition. This is just supernatural. This is just sci-fi. You're like, nah, because that resonates deeply within me. But I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I ain't gonna say shit until the time is right. All my life I had to fight. I'm just kidding. So I say all that to say I can only pinpoint and recollect when these gifts started showing themselves and coming online, and then they only got stronger and more powerful, and I only start more accepting myself and who I was like early 30s, late 30s into my 40s. And then during that time, you start drawing other people that are similar to you, that are going through, I would say, mass awakening, mass recollection of who they are. And it's funny because typically some people would say I found my home. I can't say that because I know this is not my home. And to take it even deeper, I can't say I want to go home because they would snatch my ass up out of here. I've specifically had that almost happen 3 times in my lifetime. The first time I recognized it, Spirit was like, okay, well, get your shit in order. Start getting your wills done so your kids can be taken care of. Insurance, final affairs, give shit away. And I was like, hold on. What you mean get my wills and shit done? What are you talking about? So I had my spiritual guide at the time, my physical spiritual guide at the time. I said, can you look into this? She was like, oh, I'm glad you called me because they were about to come snatch your ass up out of here. I was like, oh, so they are listening. I do have people out there. God damn it. I got a whole fucking team, family. And and this is not just your guardian angels, your ancestors. No, you got a cosmic and a galactic family whose love is more impenetrable than what you experience here, whose love is deeper, whose connection is more profound than what you have here. So I encourage you, if you get a chance to get either a past life regression to go all the way back to your beginning, I would say do it because that helped me to see better when I went through that. That helped me to know myself better when I experienced that. Um, and again, at the time I was feeling that, I was like, I want to go home. Like I'm sick of this shit. I was getting sick and there was a lot of shit. I was like, I want to go home, god damn it. So they was like, oh, you want to go home? That's all you had to say. We'll come pick your ass up. Yeah. So yeah, there are some of us that cannot say that because we volunteered to come here. There are some that have to be here because they have learning and growth to do. But there are some of us that volunteered to come here because of the specific times, the cycles that not only humans are in, that Mother Earth and Gaia is in, transitioning and ascending into her next evolutionary state. So getting back to where we were, because we have fallen far, far. A lot of people, oh no, we're getting smarter, more intelligent. I'm like, you think so? Okay. But for those of us that know what's going on, we're tapping back to where we were and what we are originally, back into beings of source. So I'm saying all this to say, we're taught that we're just humans, we're failed, but we're perfectly imperfect. That's the whole purpose. We're here purposely to fuck up. We're here to experience, to go through shit so that we can learn these lessons and take it all back to source. To experience how heavy and dense this energy is just because in our light bodies, in our plasmic, cosmic, crystalline vessels, we don't know what this is. So how can we truly have compassion? How can we truly have grace? How can we truly understand self if we don't experience this existence? And you're hear a lot of spiritual teachers say this is like the ghetto, the ghetto school of the cosmic and galactic force and experience. It is ghetto as fuck. This is some ghetto ass shit here on this planet, but it's for a reason. And there's people that volunteer to come here to experience this crazy shit. And I've always felt that, which is why I don't judge even the harshest of what we consider the most obscene and nasty experiences that one can go through, there are people that want to experience this. And when you understand that this is a game, on higher levels, this is a game. Here, when you're going through it, it doesn't feel like a fucking game. You're like, really? What the fuck? I chose this shit? I don't recollect choosing this shit. But yeah, we chose. Some beings are forced back here. There's all types of narratives and truth that beings are experiencing. You just have to know what yours is and what you have subscribed to in regards to why you're here. What did you come here to learn? What did you come here to experience? And so the whole purpose for this awakening, and again, it's not for everybody because there are people that came here not to awaken. There are people literally that came here just to be, just to experience. But those that are star seeds, those that have came in and once they got here have forgotten, those are the ones that are awakening. Those are the angelic human beings that are awakening, being reminded of why they're here. Because there are those that are here that need help in remembering who they are so that they can ascend and assist with the ascension to a higher vibrational state. And that's not just 5D. 5D is not the limit, right? But there are some people that want to go to the fifth dimension to experience that dimension, to the sixth, to the seventh, to the eighth, to the ninth, all the way back to source, right? And there are some beings that just want to experience just because they don't experience that. For example, your Arcturians, they are not an emotional race. They don't understand emotions because they don't feel emotions. They're strictly logic, strictly analytical. And so there are beings that are born into this dynamic because they want to experience emotions. In order to comprehend, in order to understand those other races and to partner with them that are emotional races, you gotta go through the shit. It's multi-layered, and I can't explain it all in one call because at your lower level, you're like, this is unreal, this is sad, this is uncalled for, this hurts, this is painful. But also through that pain, there's a new wisdom, there's a new knowledge, there's a new gift that is birthed through you. There is that awakening and remembrance of who you are, your powers, your gifts, your connection to the divine, your connection to the all, your connection to source. And there's a growth that happens with that. That's what that awakening is. Literally, it's awakening to who you are, to how this all works, so that you can be the master of your creation. You can't be the master of your creation and you don't know how this works. You can't be the master of self and not control your emotions in the midst of turmoil, or not control your perspectives against all odds, against what people are saying or how the narrative is spoken through the eyes of mass media or through the eyes of the majority of the people. Can you stand your own ground when you got people coming up against you that are adamant, that are fervent, that are passionate about their truth and what they think your truth should be? There's a lot of tests, a lot of challenges here, and it's all to actually aid you in remembering who you are and remembering your powers and remembering your gifts and remembering, for those of us that came here on purpose, why you're here, to help others remember why they're here, to remember that they are loved and loved deeply and severely beyond what we are able to experience here on this planet. And it's weird. It's some crazy shit out there. It's some crazy, crazy stuff that you'll experience going through this journey by yourself and with other beings. So for those of us that comprehend, you are misunderstood because you're not from here. You are misjudged. You are accused of doing things that you clearly know you didn't do, goddammit, because it's all meant to make you forget, to distract you from remembering, so that you don't ascend and others don't ascend, and this game becomes the end. Because that's what those who are in power, they want this game to continue because they like being in control of other people. They like being looked at as God. They like being looked at as something when in fact, I'm not going to say they're nothing, but they don't remember that everybody, everything, every existence is source. From the most disgusting, severe atrocities that could be committed to the most beautiful, blissful, and joyous experiences, it all goes back to source. So once we truly understand that, once we truly understand free will, once we truly know what respect is, there will be less arguments, less debates, less hatred. Because you know, okay, you have a right to believe that. If you want my opinion, I'll give it to you. If you want my experiences and my perspective, I'll share it with you to help broaden yours. But I'm not going to impose on you. I'm not going to force you to say, this is how it is and that's all there is. Spirit told me this, so this applies to everybody. That's your spirit, not mine. That's your truth. It ain't my truth. Your truth is for you. My truth is for me. I'm not disclaiming your experiences. I'm not disclaiming what spirit told you. But it doesn't apply to me. It doesn't resonate with my spirit. Now, one way that you know it does apply to you is if you find yourself going through cognitive dissonance and anger. If you find yourself going through, what's the term? Putting your defenses up, then maybe it does apply to you. And maybe you need to check that and look deeper into yourself. But once you get to a certain point where you know thyself, you know what your journey is, you remember who you are, you remember your spirit, you also understand that there are varying truths and not one is above the other. The whole purpose of us being a co-creator of our experience is that we get to say what our truth is. We get to say what our origins are. We get to say where we come from, where we're going, what we realize, how we perceive and see things. And so when you start understanding that and you get to learn higher and higher perspectives and higher vibrations, you understand that it's a both and. This is true and this is true. And they may seem like on the opposite ends of the spectrum, but they're both truths. And they're self-evident in accordance with who the individual is. That's where the evidence is. It's not because science says this is how it goes, because apparently I've been told that physics and science work completely opposite outside of here. As a matter of fact, I love science, mind you. But quantum physics has shown that there's something that's way faster than the speed of light. What do you say to that? What do you say to people that can heal themselves just with a thought? oh no, you need to take this radiation, you need to take this herb and this. And don't get me wrong, herbs are for the healing of the nations. I wholeheartedly believe that because we are connected to Mother Earth. Mother Earth is connected to us. But you can just say, I want the essence of a rose in my concoction of shea butter, and it will be there without you having to destroy the petals of a rose, to use its essential oil, to destroy it, to create. You don't have to destroy something to create something else. And again, that's at a much higher vibrational level. When you get to that point, you understand. And it's like, wow. I think breatharians understand that dynamic too. You know, we're always taught, oh, you gotta eat, you gotta consume, you gotta eat, you gotta eat, you gotta eat to live, eat to live. And that eating to live, you are destroying something else by consuming it, right? Or let's say you're transforming the energy of something else for your highest good. Let's be gentle about it. But you don't have to do that. You can be fed by the ether, which is what this all is around us. It's a form of water. You can be fed by the light of the sun, which is why they're always trying to block that bitch out. It's like, no, 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 we don't want you to see the sun, goddammit. Oh my gosh. Like when you go through this shit and you realize it and and again, your vessel is giving you this feedback. You're like, oh shit. Like what they're telling us, it doesn't reign true for us. It's not, and I'm gonna say me, it doesn't reign true for me. I don't have to eat. Oh, if you don't eat, you're gonna die. No, I'm not gonna die. I'm here and I'm more clear than I have ever been without all this pollution. Internal and external pollution. I am here. I am clear about why I'm here. I am clear about what I see, what I envision. It's mind blowing. It really is. This awakening. It's so you go through several phases when you're going through your awakening. You go through this realization. There's parts of you that go through anger because of all the fucking lies you realize that you've been told, right? To try to keep you confined into this box, to keep you a slave to the lower vibrational energies, right? So there's this anger, there's this wrath that comes with it. And sometimes it could be deep. Sometimes it could be ancestral wrath. Like, oh, holy shit, all that comes to surface, right? Then you understand grace and you understand forgiveness. Then there's self-acceptance and then there's self-realization. Then there's self-activation. All of this happens when you're awakening. And it blows your fucking mind every single time. And it's never ending. It don't stop. You're not just awakened all in one shot, right? It's given to you bits by bits. Here's a breadcrumb. Here, take that, take that. Oh, here's another breadcrumb. Take that, take that. And you're like, oh shit. And you're forever learning. You're forever learning. And not just about yourself, about other people. You get amazed. You become more amazed and enamored by others and their gifts. Not to a point of jealousy to where well, I'll say some do, but not to a point of, it shouldn't be to a point of jealousy to where you're like, oh, I want your gifts and I want them for me and I want you to partner with me and you're all mine. No. I am happy that you have your gifts. That's fucking awesome. Because you are you. You are a different fractal of source. If I want those gifts, all I gotta do is ask. It may not be easy for me. I gotta work at it to where it comes natural to you, but I can get it too. I don't have to be jealous of you. I got my own shit that you can't do. I got my own perspectives, my own mind, my own abilities. I can wield it in a different fashion than you, but I'm not better than you and I'm not less than you. We all are in this together. I can wholeheartedly uplift you and be happy when another person is prospering, when another person is coming into their own. That brings me the greatest fucking joy in this journey. Seeing people, assisting them with activating their gifts and acknowledging their greatness versus comparing themselves to other people. Like, yeah, that'll kill you faster than anything else, is comparing yourself to somebody else, to their gifts, to their talents, to their abilities. And remember we said in the introduction, you are here by yourself. So when you hear
Absolutely.
people saying your only competition is you, they mean that shit on so many goddamn levels. Because everyone that's in your circle is a reflection of you. So when you're happy for other people and thoroughly, authentically rejoicing for other people's ascension, their growth, their abundance, their health, their wealth, their flourishing, their thriving, that are thriving, you are also for yourself because they are a reflection of you. If you don't like the reflection that you're seeing, then I think you need to change it. Find people that you aspire to not necessarily become, but to be at their level of self-knowledge, at their level of self-knowing, at their level of self-acceptance, self-love, because you're going to be just as bomb-ass as they are in your own right. Not from a scarce perspective, not from a there's not enough mindset. No, there is plenty. You know how many goddamn people on this planet? Persons, beings, creatures, that need each of us in our gifts, our individual special gifts, talents, and abilities, just as we are, not conforming to what everybody else say you're supposed to be like, just as you are. Yeah. So again, there's gifts that have come online, and again, like shamanism. So the Native American and African and Ethiopian side of myself, the blood that runs through me, they're natural healers and shamans. Didn't know what that shit was. I just knew when somebody asked me to pray for them or to heal them or to clear their energy, there was certain shit that spirit would tell me to do and I would just flow with it. I find out later what specifically was being done, either by spirit or by listening to another spiritual person that has awakened or that is in shamanism or healing, the healing arts as we call it. And I was like, oh, damn, I didn't have to go to school to learn how to do that. I just did it. Shit. Shit. Okay. Okay. But you can only do that when you are looking inside yourself, when you're listening to your own higher guidance. And a lot of times in a spiritual community, we're led to find a mentor, and mentors are very helpful because they help you to understand yourself. That's what they're supposed to do, not force you to be dependent on them. Just saying. Because when you become codependent, isn't that like a God complex or some shit? Isn't that another control mechanism that we're actually trying to get out of? No, when I mentor people, I don't want you dependent on me. That shit gets on my nerves. Yeah, you can say it. I know you agree, goddammit. It gets on my nerve. I don't want you to depend on me. I am so,
Oh,
and that goes all across my entire experience, right? I am willing, so
right.
willing. I will give almost my last to help people. But if I don't see you trying to help yourself, I step back. Because why am I going to invest my time and energy, which is sacred, to help your ass and you don't even care or you ain't even trying? I'm not here to be a martyr for anybody else. I've done that in life past. I'm not doing it in this one. So seek a mentor. Yes, that's going to help you come into your own knowledge, to your own power. And if you need their help, they're there. But if they force you or make you feel like you have to have them in your experience, I don't think that's the mentor for you if you want to grow any further. Just saying. It's okay to take classes to be brought back into the skill sets that you may need to complete your journey. It's okay to take courses. It's okay to learn. Invest in yourself. That's what you're here to do, to know thyself. Bring your awareness back by taking classes. Do what you can do, what you feel, what you're led, what you're guided to do. But what you're guided to do, not what somebody else tells you you need to do. Because you may not need to do that because you may automatically have those gifts. You just need to be reminded. Hey, unlock that encode in there and get to work, goddammit. And it's not necessarily this whole long drawn out ceremony that helps you to unlock your gifts. It can be a simple acknowledgement that, hey, I have this gift. Spirit, teach me, lead me, guide me on how to use it responsibly, how to use it wisely for my highest self and for the highest self of others, for the highest good of myself and for the highest good of others. And spirit will. They'll tell you how to use it, or they'll send somebody to you if you so request that can help you. So on this awakening journey, a lot of us, we feel like we are black sheeps, the castaways of the family, the ostracized, and that's on purpose because we can't find ourselves being inundated by everybody else's perspective of us. So we have to be alone. We have to be set apart, literally pushed away so that we can discover who we are and to activate. And so I know a lot of you that are coming into your awakening, you may have always known that you just, one of these things are not like the other. You may have always known that you're different. You may have severely kept it to yourself that may have taken you into a energy of depression, an energy of sadness, an energy of loneliness, of energy of helplessness, because that comes too when you don't know. But when you start to learn, when you start to awaken, that'll slowly bring you up out of that. You have to be willing to let go and to choose love and to go into the unknown. Like Elsa said in Frozen 2, there's a whole song, Into the Unknown. I hear this calling. I'm drawn to this. I have no fucking clue, and it's scary. It's intimidating. But I'm gonna go because I need to know. That's where that's where certain scriptures come to mind that I used to hear where it says you cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven unless you are like a child. And when you think about that, children are curious. Children's minds are open. So you can't get to your heaven unless you become like your inner child, wanting to know, wanting to experience, wanting to try something. And there's a balance that comes to that. You don't want to cause yourself harm. Your spirit will tell you this ain't for you, but you got to listen to it. But you also got to be curious enough to say, hey, I wonder if I can lift this tree with my finger, You have, and I'm not telling you to go to the edge of a building and fucking jump off, because you understand in this world gravity exists, right? Don't be stupid. But do be curious. Do be willing to open your mind and to expand your horizons by trying things that are healthy for you to try, for you to experience. And if you're here to experience the crazy shit, meaning jumping off a building and falling flat on your face, go ahead. You signed up for it, okay? I might think you're crazy, but I am not you. I don't know what you signed up for unless I look into your contract, into your records. You may have signed up to die by being smacked by a train. I don't know. If that's what you wanted to experience, I think you're fucking crazy, but okay. I'm gonna try to prevent you from experiencing that pain because they don't feel good, but if you want to, okay. Be your own guest. Just saying. Just saying. That's what I mean by it gets crazy because when you understand that, when you respect that, you look at shit differently. You're like, things don't move you emotionally like they used to. It doesn't incite certain emotions that others want you to feel as it used to before when you start to understand and comprehend that you control this. Yeah, so find your tribe. Know that you're not alone, but you are alone. Be gracious with yourself during your awakening. Because I found myself beating myself up a lot of times. Because remember, I told you that lesson, trusting my own intuition. And that's a lesson that I've realized since elementary school that I had to learn in this lifetime. Trusting my intuition. Yep, that's one of it. And we can be so hard on ourselves with anything in life. And the spiritual journey, the spiritual awakening ain't no different. No different. So be gracious with yourself. This is all a learning journey, a learning experience. So when spirit tells you something and you don't listen, but you find out years later, don't beat yourself up. Recognize the voice of spirit and say, I hear you clearly now. Because when your higher self speaks, it's an inner soft, kind of almost silent voice that speaks. And it's an intuitive knowing, it's a gut sense that you should or should not do this, or you should go here or go there, or you should experience this or not experience this. And when you start listening to it, it becomes louder, more clear. That would be the best advice I would give to those of you that are just now going through your awakening. And even those that are still awakening, because we're always going to be awakening as long as we're here. There's not a solid culmination unless that's what you signed up for. So for those of you that chose to come back here, be gracious with yourself. Find your tribe. And there are a lot of schools out here that can assist you that are just becoming and coming into yourself. And there's several that I know of that I can probably list in the description box or chat box because they were very helpful in me recognizing my gifts as well. The whole purpose is to help those of you that are just starting your journey. Just be gracious with yourself. Acknowledge the emotions that you feel. Don't try to suppress them. Don't try to get rid of them. Your emotions help to guide you into your healing journey and into your growth. So feel those emotions. Acknowledge them, but also know that they aren't who you are. They don't define you. Rewrite them. Rewrite your own perspectives. I know some of you have had some harsh experiences to get you to where you are now in this journey in your awakening, and you had to have those to awaken. Maybe you're just as fucking stubborn as I am. But those experiences don't define who you are, and you can rewrite how you react when those triggers happen. Because you are going to be triggered, you're going to be tested. And that's how you're going to know that you have grown, that you have forgiven, that you have healed when those triggers happen. Because they're gonna test the fuck out of you. It's like, let me see if I can push these buttons again and get her to go off the rails, or to get him to go ape shit, to go ham out here. Yeah, you're gonna be tested, but it's a both and. It's so that you can see your growth, your own growth, and it's also so that others know that you have elevated yourself to where you're no longer operating on those same playing field. You're no longer operating on this vibrational energy because you now understand and understand yourself more, who you are, and your gifts. So, yeah, be gracious with yourself. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to be like a child. Get in touch with your inner child and your shadow work. Your shadow deals with that you have oppressed within you because you want it to be accepted by everybody. And those that go through awakening, they do a lot of oppressing self just to fit in, just to feel accepted. You weren't supposed to fit in. And you will be accepted by those who are honorable and wise and intelligent enough to see how fucking awesome you are, how impactful you are, that you are source, that you are just a different version of source. And once you see yourself, so will other people. Because remember, everybody outside of you is that reflection, right? So once you start seeing yourself, everybody else will start seeing you. Once you start loving yourself, those people that are coming to your circle, drawn into you, whether it's an intimate relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's business partners, they'll start loving you too. Like authentically, deeply, divinely loving you. No strings attached, no ulterior motives. They will start loving you. When you start accepting yourself completely and wholly, that's when you'll be introduced to your tribe. You'll meet them in the most random places. That reminds me, I was on, again, during my tablet days, helping, the lower income families with getting Wi-Fi and tablets. I'm sitting there at this table set up outside of a little convenience store. This random guy walks by, face full of tattoos, arm full of tattoos. So if you're looking at him on the outside, yeah, you're probably prejudged. Or you're probably a gangbanger or something like that. But he spoke. He spoke in angel language. And I spoke right back to him like we were having a normal fucking conversation. I was, after he left, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, yo. I was like, that's fucking amazing. Because remind you, we have this perception that those who are spiritual, those who are high vibrational beings are going to come to you in a certain form, right? We think they're going to come wearing all white with no tattoos, no piercings, hair flowing. And nah, fam. Mm-mm. Oh, no. They might be in there smoking a blunt with you, right? I don't smoke, but they might be in there smoking weed with you. They might be on the corner. That's why they say be kind to all, because you never know who you're entertaining. You might be entertaining an angel. And we have this preconceived notion, no, anything that's holy and sanctified is going to be wearing all white robes made of cotton and linen and glowing and shit. And you got angels in the background. Oh, nah. Nah. Earth angels, we have tattoos. We got piercings. We curse. We drink. Some of us smoke. And all the other stuff that you think is not uh, set apart or high vibrational. Yeah. That's why you never judge a book by its cover. And life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Never know what you're going to get. Um, and I can go more in depth about this awakening because for me, it has been throughout my entire life. Through this entire journey, I have been remembering who I am, have been awakening, have been learning. For some people, they've been living their lives and it took a tragedy for them to come to source. And maybe that's because that's what it had to take. That's what they agreed to go through, or that's what was necessary in order for them to remember. Everybody's different. But what I will say is, again, be gracious on your awakening journey with yourself and with others. You can learn from everybody. There's not one spiritual teacher that's better than the other. There's some that you'll gravitate to more than the others. That's on purpose so that you can remember and learn and move on and continue in your growth. Because maybe you're meant to wake up other people. Some people are meant to reach millions and billions in their journey. And some people are meant to reach those who are meant to reach those millions and billions. And some are meant to only speak with a select few. You just remember who you are. Remember why you're here. That's the whole purpose of awakening. Is recalling this entire system, this entire game, and getting back to yourself. Yeah, I'm writing a book, so I'll hawk that shit when I'm done. Because it's talking about my spiritual journey, going a little bit more in depth. Because if I sit here all day, my mouth gonna get dry. I'm gonna be hungry and hangry. Because there's a whole lot of shit that I done went through. There's a whole lot of stuff I done went through on this awakening journey, right?
Right.
We'll be here all day. I'll probably get rained on. You see, it ain't as sunny today. It's cloudy. It's sprinkly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful journey. Once you get to this stage and you're awakening and you actually see everything for what it actually is, it's like, oh, okay. Then you can let water roll off of your back like a duck. Then you can walk on water, turn water into wine because you have obtained self mastery. And it's always a work in progress. You're going to fall sometimes. You're going to revert back to what they call old ways or lower vibrational responses. It's okay. Forgive yourself. Give yourself grace. Pick yourself back up and keep it moving. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself. That's where forgiveness and grace is needed most with yourself in your personal journey and doing your awakening. because we think, oh, once we get to some vibrational level where we're operating on this vibration that we can't fall. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. It just takes the right chemical circumstances, the right balance of bullshit. And like I said, they will try you. So just know it may come. It may not come. But when it does come, how you respond, how you react is going to determine how far you've grown. And if you can, if you like to journal, journal, because that'll also help you to see how far you've come, how far you've grown. You may not necessarily go back and reread the journal, because I don't go back and reread mine, but when I do, it's funny because I forget shit that Spirit has told me. And so when I forget, I relearn through certain circumstances, through certain situations. They're like, oh, and then you go back and read it. Oh, you did tell me that. And I totally forgot. So yeah, journal, take visual notes, take audio notes so that you can remember the lessons that you've learned. Because yeah, we do sometimes, we easily forget. We easily forget. That's just part of being in this vessel. Forgetfulness, right? So yeah, you
Absolutely.
remember, and go from there.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's all I'm going to share at this time. I'm pretty sure more shit will come out the more we talk and the more we go on our journey. Sure.
Absolutely. And it's such a beautiful story and so many gems and nuggets you put in there um that the listener and multiple people hearing your story is going to see and take from it and see certain specific things in one way. Like for me particular, um one of the things you said I think is impactful, you were mentioning about the energy. One thing that I've learned about the energy when you were just mentioning energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What came to me was what a lot of people don't understand, and I didn't understand until recently last year. What I learned and went to a workshop that
Mm-hmm.
was in Dallas from and I give credit to Dr. Brett Jones and Dr. Kate Jones, you know, husband and wife doing the work out here.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned from them that energy is information,
Yeah.
right? And so when it comes down to and you was making that reference of energy, you know, speaking in, you know, ancient language, and which angelic language, light language, all different variances of language that you can do multiple, some do one, you know, just where you are with it. That this information and is meant to not necessarily obtain the information based off of what was said, is based off of what was felt. Energy and emotions have its own language, you know, sadness or whatever the case may be, and you feel and you understand that person's feelings. So, you know, it's kind of like facial expressions,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can have a certain facial expression and you understand that facial expression without verbiage coming
Mm-hmm.
out, you know, and what that certain thing means. So it kind of relates to that. So that's just a little small example, a beautiful story.
Well,
And
to build on that example, I'm being led to mention this. So remember when I was talking about your breatharians and consuming food and why we're so told that we got to consume in order to survive, in order to live. And that is a death culture, right? But the whole purpose and reason why we're consuming is for information. What we put in our body is supposed to be food that is alive so that we can receive the information from it. This is why babies, when they come into the world, what is the first thing they do? Put everything in their goddamn mouth. because
Hmm.
they're getting information from it. It's not that they're trying to
Information.
harm themselves or, that they're learning from the information, which is on the tongue, the enzymes, the energy that it correlates with. Our tongue is a vibratory muscle, which is why we use it to speak. And so they put everything in
Yeah.
their mouth to learn the world that they're now a part of. And so when we eat and we consume, it's supposed to be food that has life in it
Mhm.
because we're getting energy from it. So when you decide that you want to only consume certain things, whether it be light, ether, you're getting energy and information from it. Light codes, Akashic record downloads or uploads, whichever way you see it. It's all information. This body, this vessel, everything that we say we feel, it's information. Now, how we interpret that information, we are responsible for,
Absolutely.
and we can
Absolutely.
control and change.
Yeah, it's and that can go
That's what
so
they
much
mean by
deeper.
the and yes, I'm on my phone, folks. I'm sorry. But that's what they mean by the renewing of your mind. You are the one that interprets how things appear.
Absolutely. It's all up to you. You have the power and it goes, to put all that into knowing thyself. Damn it.
Mhm.
There's because I don't want to segue off of, because we can go, it's so easy to go down rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen.
It
Uh,
is. It's so many
and,
holes.
there's so many, and it's so much more to talk about. But to sum it all up, to keep it at, Stars Awakening, her story with everything she shared was just such a beautiful story that we all can learn from. She said so much, and not to distract by going down this rabbit hole, that because we'll save those for a later episode. But
Yeah.
summing all up, to the awakening is getting to know thyself, right?
Yeah.
Knowing who you are, going
Mhm.
within, spending time, the mindset, what this mean, what that mean, and discovering and knowing that you are the creator of your world. Like I said in introduction, you are God, you are a
Mhm.
fractal. And she gave perfect example of what that means. You create your universe, starting from understanding and going within and putting perfect harmony in the universe inside you to be the reflection and to see it extend outside of you. It's not based
Yep.
off of what people think you should do, because that's a brainwashing mechanism of trying to get
Control.
you to do what they want you to do. It's about
Mhm.
control. It's about, we're so
Using
used to
your light
looking
and your
outside
energy.
of us and your energy, but it's a distraction from you to know who you are.
Mhm.
And when you don't allow the distraction outside of you, when you stop dependent on what's outside of you, you stop trying to find the answer from outside, or find the answer outside of you and go within, is when everything clicks and makes sense.
Yep.
Everything makes sense.
A good
But
way to start looking inside
mhm,
of you is to ask yourself questions. Like ask yourself, why do I respond to this situation like this? Why is it that I feel this
yeah,
way? Why is it that I believe this? Where does this belief come from? And when you start asking those questions, then you'll dive deeper into yourself, into who
absolutely.
you are.
Yes, yes. But it starts with you. It
Yeah.
starts with you. So I think they deserve a round of applause
Uh,
for
thank you. Thank you.
for
Appreciate it.
such, thank
Appreciate it.
you for, yeah. So,
I claim my
standing
part, right?
ovation. Yeah, yeah,
Can I go
I
home
mean,
now?
but
I'm just
you
kidding. I'm just kidding.
it,
I ain't done yet.
it's all about sharing. It's all about sharing. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is this this she in her divine feminine balance with masculine.
I was about to
Listen, look,
say, I'm
see,
like, hold on, hold
I
on,
got, hey, I put it together,
hold
I see those
on.
pauses in there, so I make sure I display that correctly, because, that's
Oh
another
my
thing,
goodness.
of
That's a yeah,
balancing
I know,
between the
right?
masculine and feminine, because we both have that. So that's a yeah,
A whole nother, yeah, episode.
whole nother. We so love this. Thank you for sharing, and
Thank
and
you
we
guys for
hope you all
listening.
enjoyed. Yes,
I
I
hope you're
hope
able to stay with
you
me because
all
I know
enjoy
sometimes I talk
episode
in
two.
circles.
No, 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 you're fine. We need all of that. That's why in this episode, I stayed quiet. I did not want to, you know, add to the message
Derail
because
me.
this episode rarely, this episode is so much, and I didn't want anything to be missed. Right? I wanted
Hmm.
to be clear and zoomed in on everything that was said and spoken because there's so much to learn from this episode with what Star shared. And the next episode is you'll learn from me, right?
Yes, in
It's
your
my turn to
journey.
share and and share my journey on the makeup of my journey thus far, right? So,
And your
we hope
awakening and
you all
how you
enjoyed.
was like, oh God. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful story, folks. Beautiful
Yes,
story.
yes.
And I'm sure
And
many of
I
you will
can't
relate
wait to
to.
share that with y'all.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
awesome.
So, we hope you enjoyed this one. And, till the next one. Peace out.
Peace.